Hey guys, so it's actually going to be a real chill one. It's actually the 1st of 2019 and I've been out gallivanting, tired, my lipstick's cracking, I've got food in my teeth. It's like going up to 9, which is my bedtime. But I really wanted to do my film wrap up for you guys. So I think I've been mentioning some vlogs here and there that these wrap ups are going to be like every other month or so now. I kind of went crazy this time and watched like a load of stuff, so I'm kind of hating myself for it. But I know I'm not bothered on numbers and everything, but I do notice that these are the like least popular videos on my channel, which is understandable, and they only sort of do better when I combine them with book wrap ups and like TBRs and stuff. So I'm not going to stop these because honestly I still enjoy them and I like documenting stuff. I'm a bit of a weirdo, and also it's my channel and I like talking about films as well. So yeah, but I don't want to bore you guys too much, so I'll compromise, be a good friend and just do them less, I guess. This is going to be a really chilled one, as I mentioned. I really should have just got myself on my computer, did a voiceover and that, but I thought nah, I want to come on camera, but I'm just going to be really lazy and literally read, like literally read my reviews rather than, you know, sort of glance at it every now and then and like talk to you, just because I don't want to ramble. I'm tired and I'm complaining already. This is a great start, isn't it? Absolutely great start. But anyway, so this is over November and December. I watched quite a few Roald Dahl stuff in November because, I don't know, I was just reading. I had like a week straight, I think, where I read some Roald Dahl stuff and I was just inspired to watch some. And then I saw some newer releases and I've been going to the cinema a lot recently, so there is some new stuff, but there's also some old films as well. So I do apologise in advance for the lack of eye contact. So the first thing I watched in November was Vendetta, which I gave a 4 stars. So I actually remember watching this quite a few years ago in a history class, but I don't think we ever finished watching it because I think it was like a, I don't know, it was like a special school day. It might have been like a half day before like a half term or something. But I've always been meaning to watch it in full ever since. I just kept forgetting, I suppose. But yeah, I thought what better time than November to check it out, seeing as it's, you know, rather fitting because it's surrounded around like the Guy Fawkes story, retelling of sorts, I guess, but it felt maybe less sure as it had been years, so I didn't know if my perception on what I thought the plot was about was different. But I was right, that's what it was about. So basically, a freedom fighter known as V uses terrorist tactics to fight against society, rescuing a girl, Evie, played by Natalie Portman, from the secret police, finds him having an ally in all of this. I've read that very strangely. So yeah, I really did love the cast in this. I forgot how many actors were in this that I was aware of. I'm never really good with actor names, but I recognise a lot of faces, and if I see them enough times I will learn their names. But we had the detective from BBC's Dickensian, which I really loved. We had Stephen Fry, Handsome from Holby City, and of course Natalie Portman, to name but a few. But in terms of story, I did keep forgetting that it was just after the World War, because even now it feels like modern-esque in the way, I don't know, the story unfolds, I guess. That can be both a good thing and a bad thing depending on your perspective. I mean, the message is still relevant, it does feel current when you look into like the politics and stuff of life, get me. But it is alarming that it does, and in pure relation to just the film, it's obviously a little bit confusing for myself that it feels like modernised. I don't know if that's just me, maybe it's the style of it, I don't really know. But other than that, I feel like I kind of wish I had my history teacher clarifying things for me like he did when we watched like the first half or whatever in history class, because I'm certain that I missed things out of this that just like went right over my head, especially the ending. Was the unveiling just for effect, or was there more? Other than that confusion, it was a really great film. So yeah, that was 4 stars. So after that, I pretty much sort of sporadically checked out Apple and Onion, which is season 1, and I gave that 4.5 stars. So yeah, I finally watched all the new episodes of series 1. I had a series link set, so I just sort of watched them. But for this new cartoon show on Cartoon Network that was premiered, I think back in August time. So they were releasing a new series like each month around that time. I'm not sure how long that was for. Maybe it was just until, I don't know, December, I don't know. I don't remember any majorly new things recently that's come out, but they were basically doing a new show a month, and I think this was the first out of those like that little cereal thing. Super excited to check it out because I recognise Richard Ayoade, sorry if I pronounce his name wrong. I recognise his voice and I knew I'd love his humour in this. I adore him. He does, or he did, The Mighty Boosh. He did IT Crowd. He's also done like, I'm pretty sure he did like a Travelling the World sort of random series because his dry commentary is just the best. But the first episode I watched sees Apple and Onion trying to fit into their new big city. They're both new and they sort of eventually bump into each other. I actually watched like the 3rd or 4th episode first by accident just because I was a bit confused, but it wasn't a big deal. I think it didn't necessarily show the right episodes together like when they record, or the first few episodes were single and I didn't notice. Sometimes the recording system's a bit weird with episodes because they show them like back to back and they're not always like the right pairing of episodes, if that makes sense. I'm trying to explain it. And I didn't notice like it started with a double bill recording or whatever, but anyway, whacked it out of order. Never mind, I went back to the beginning. It was grand. So they work in like a dollar store. Straight away they get into trouble. Love it. There's a patty in it, as in like the patty, you know, the Caribbean food, with a Caribbean accent, which I bloody love, and it adds a little bit of like culture. And I know it's stereotypical, but there's little nuances they do that I recognise because I have like Caribbean heritage, and it just made me chuckle. Even though they're like food characters, it was a strange mix. So the theme tune, honestly, it's so dry, so catchy, love it. Couldn't stop grinning throughout the series. The little songs within the episodes are awesome as well. Again, it's got that catchy feel because back in the Mighty Boosh they obviously have like these weird singing episodes and that, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, this show is made for Richard. So yeah, it seems like the main thing is making friends, and it does so in a fun way that feels like it's taking the mick out of life. So it is one of those things that you can plonk in front of a kid and they'd enjoy it, but I feel like for an older audience as well, if you're like me, you like cartoons and you like something with a little bit more depth than that, yeah, this will be one of those. But yeah, such a fun new series, totally recommended it. Gutted it took me ages to actually start it, but I'm glad I did. And after that I checked out the other new show, which was Craig of the Creek, season 1 of course, and I gave this one 5 stars. So again, this is another new series on Cartoon Network. I think this one debuted in October. Follows Craig and his friends going on adventures in the creek. The creek's like Craig's second home, I feel like I'd describe it as, where he goes to play with his friends, and the first episode shows them exploring a never before seen or explored part of the creek to try and make their name in history. So I love that the main character is black. He is a middle child, so we'd probably get a lot of kids relating to that aspect. His older brother is an angsty teen, I think he's called Bernard, that studies continuously, and his little sister is adorable but irritating. I heard the voice actor of LSP and Clarence as JP. I'm pretty sure it's the same actor. And what happened to Clarence? Does anybody actually know? Because I just had to take a moment and think, damn, do they even show episodes anymore? It just kind of disappeared. Did they cancel it? I don't know. Anyway, Kelsey, the other friend, is super dramatic. I love her. She like goes into these deep dark fantasy monologues. She thinks she's like a hero, and she's like she gets like these spotlight things on her, and she was like, but I was the star of this adventure. And I'm thinking, dude, you're really not, calm down. But she's amazing. She's really funny. So again, the theme tune of this one is super catchy. Feels like your typical cartoon style theme tune, if that makes sense. But I love the art style as well. They have like these cool like big head, smaller body type art style, which is interesting. Kind of gives me chibi-esque sort of vibes, especially for the younger characters. For example, I can't remember her name, but Craig's younger sister has that like chibi appearance to me, but not too extreme. Anyway, the end credits remind me of Steven Universe. They're just literally eating at a table, but it's like, I don't know, there's something about it that reminds me of Steven Universe. They have the clothing line, don't they, just billowing in the wind. There's something so minute about it. It's just simple, and I don't know, it gives me those vibes. My favourite episodes were The Last Book and The Curse. Literally both of those episodes pretty much a representation of my life. The Prior had bronies, Naruto inspired fanatics. It just had so many groups, and honestly I was there for it. I couldn't stop laughing at that episode. That was one of those episodes that I put my phone down and I was like, wow, I've just got to watch the whole thing like properly, you know. The show itself is of course episodic, as you would expect. There's a new adventure every episode. I don't think there's ever been like a 2-parter yet, but you know, some shows do that. But it keeps you hooked for the short 15 minutes of time that it takes. Very entertaining, kind of gives me Codename Kids Next Door, if any of you guys remember that. Those sort of vibes as well, in a way, but they also have this massive quest of the creek vibe too. So it's got a lot of things that I feel like probably influenced, probably inspired it, but you know, it is its own thing, and it was a great show as well. So that, at the moment, I've still got a few episodes. I think I probably watched about 12. It keeps saying I've got 24 to watch, but some of those are those random doubled episodes where they do like a double bill, but they're just like in a random order, but I'll just delete those because I've already seen them. But yeah, love it, totally recommend that as well. So taking it back to the films, I went to see The Grinch with my friends Maria, Max and Marie. We went as a little group. It was like Maria's birthday sort of adventure, sort of just meeting up thing. Also meeting up, was it before Christmas? Was that the time we saw each other last? No, it can't have been. No, it can't have been. Anyway, this was so much fun. I gave this a 4 stars. The premise obviously followed like the original, I think, is it Jim Carrey's Grinch, learning to love Christmas, but had a side story that was equally as important, I would say, of Cindy Lou wanting to make her like a Christmas wish to make her mum happy. She always is working hard for others, looking after others, which I thought was just adorable. So I love that Lucy Liu was more boisterous. I can't remember what she was like in the original film, but I'm pretty sure she was like really, really girly. And I loved Benedict Cumberbatch in this. The fact that it showcases the family of a single mum and 3 kids was awesome as well. Again, I can't remember the family dynamics of the original film, but I like that they had this modernised twist, more relatable family life, you know. The rap music was awesome. I didn't know if it was going to work with it, but somehow it did, and I was here for it. I enjoyed the narration too. I saw Pharrell Williams' name in the end credits, and I wonder if his voice was the narrator, because I feel like I recognised it, and seeing his name and then hearing that voice, I feel like they were the same person. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect with this film. It has a spin on the original, but pretty much generally is the same sort of vibe, storyline. But anyway, it felt fab anyways. I don't know if it's still out in the cinemas, probably not, but still, check it out if you can. I don't know, watch it somewhere, get the DVD, whatever. It was a good one. After that, I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I gave 3.5 stars. This is the start of all the Roald Dahl stuff. So if you watched my reading vlog, which I will link in the cards for you, from November, I was reading a whole load of Roald Dahl. So I decided to re-watch in some cases, or watch for the first time in other cases, the movie adaptation of what I had been reading. So I started with Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think that was the first book that I picked up and finished in that little shenanigans. If you are interested in the book reviews, you can check out that vlog, but I didn't want to do like a was the film or book better that I've done in the past, I think, for Troll Hunters, but I'd be repeating myself a lot, so you know, as I've already reviewed the books, I'll just briefly note things like that for the films, if that makes any sense. Probably not, because I'm talking bollocks. Anyway, just briefly, this film follows Mr. Fox, who is a serial poultry stealer. He lives by 3 farms, and you know, he's always getting in shenanigans. He steals them from the nearby farms, obviously to eat with his family, but the farmers have had enough, and they are set, there's something in my vision. Anyway, they are set to kill him. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. That was very dramatic, really added an impact there. So I believe I'd seen a random snippet of this way back when it first came out. I think I wasn't watching it properly, but I realised why I didn't want to see it. The animation style, is it CGI, I think, or I don't know, stop motion animation, clay, whatever. Whatever it is, it's freaking creepy, man. It is so creepy. And the fact that they're walking like, is it bipedal, 2 legs? I don't know if I just made that word up. I can't remember if I used it in the right context or not. It freaked the heck out of me. Honestly, I forgot that's what they were like. I don't know. They had made it more modern than I was expecting. Again, I keep coming at you with these modern things. I don't know why. Theme of the day, apparently. But what with the music and such, it just an odd vibe, I guess. I do like that Mr. and Mrs. Fox worked together in the earlier days. It was definitely different. This was much more than just a thieving fox in comparison to the book, which was more actually properly seen as a criminal act, like amongst the dynamics of the foxes. He was seen as a thief, like, which was strange. The possum joins instead of the badger, and way earlier than expected, and he got a proper job, didn't have a big family, 1 angry teen and a nephew. Other animals were real estates, paediatricians, lawyers, etc. It was a very different approach is what I'm trying to say. Like, they were more people-like, and it was a little bit odd. I think that's why it really freaked me out. It had a Texan cowboy vibe at times, and the atmosphere was interesting. But for the most part, I can't even begin to describe it. I try and I fail, honestly. It leaves me stumbling over words. I do like that the animals used Latin names at a specific scene, and I like that they say cuss instead of actual swear words. I don't think I actually picked up on any like F words or whatever, you know, but it just made me chuckle. The flow of speech and the vibe felt kind of weird, and I think this is why I was confused in my star rating. It's sort of funny, but felt uncomfortable for some reason. It was like a weird off atmosphere. My mum even said it sounded all weird and violent. So even she felt like something was not quite right. I do feel like I recognised some of the voices, but I couldn't put, again, names to them. I'm not very good with actors' names and stuff. I also realised it's by Wes Anderson, who seems to have a very particular style. He did Isle of Dogs as well, and I'm sure he's done so many other more that I just haven't noticed, which I haven't seen because of the same fact that it looks creepy as fuck. But anyway, moving on, I watched The Witches after that, and I gave that a 4 stars. So again, another Roald Dahl based film, and one I feel like I've seen at least a little bit of before. Specific scene that I remembered, but I can't remember if I watched the whole thing in its entirety. But it doesn't go into depth of the boy's story before the arrival of the witches and everything as it does in the book. I just found myself sort of I can't help but compare if I've read something, you know. And it does take more of a direct and fast approach to the plot, in which he stumbles upon the witches' conference and must stop their evil plans, basically. Things I noticed in difference, in case you cared, is the boy is American in this film instead of British. I'm not sure why. The grandmother's afflicted finger is not the thumb as it is in the novel, and witches don't disguise their feet in pretty shoes as they do in the book. But it's still nice to hear lines from the book. I do get a little bit geeky, to be honest, when I hear exact lines. I'm like, oh my god, let me get my book. It's the exact same thing. I'm such a weirdo, honestly. I love it when they say like the name of a film title in the film or in the show, and I'm like, oh my god, they just said the title, now I get it. I'm so freaking weird. Anyway, I forgot I glimpsed Rowan Atkinson in this. Bruno Jenkins also was a terrible child actor. Oh my goodness. You know, you just get those kids and you're just like, why? Why? He was one of those. The prosthetics were really good in this, considering how old it is as well, actually, and I did enjoy it a lot. I wasn't sure how they made some of the moving, talking mouse parts, but I realised now that they were like puppeteer work, which was super cool. Really detailed as well, actually. It wasn't too different from the book. I would say it wasn't as different maybe as Fantastic Mr. Fox was from the original novel. I know they're all like inspired by, but I just like to do my comparisons. But it was enough to make it memorable on its own and to be its own thing as well. So you can appreciate them as two different pieces of art, if you will, and I personally appreciate it as well. It kind of gave the ending I was hoping for in the book, so at least I have those two alternatives and I can be happy about that too. Then I went to the cinema and I watched Robin Hood, the new film that came out. I think it's literally just Robin Hood. I don't think it has like a tag subtitle or whatever, but I gave that 4 stars. I think this is where my reviews get a little bit wishy-washy. So for this I wrote, so good. Enjoyed more than expected. Felt a bit period confused though. Too modern? There I go again with the bloody modern. And then I was like, I'm not sure they really got the feel of the setting perfect enough, like the style, etc. It was too conflicting in the era. You know, you knew it was supposed to be a place and what as you assumed the actors were going for, but it didn't quite fit it. I don't know. Reminded me of Arrow. Thought Tom Minchin was in it. He looked so much more polished as the friar though, so I wasn't sure until I saw his name in the credits. The Arabic War was a really interesting touch to it, and I like how reinvented the characters were. Totally gives me Assassin's Creed vibes. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood vibes, I do apologise. Wasn't keen on how quickly characters seemed to get over their trauma. Robin clearly suffered with PTSD, but I feel like the other characters who had similar traumas wasn't explored efficiently enough. Overall, really action-packed. Got a good bit of violence, humour and an engaging storyline. Looking forward to the sequel because there's definitely going to be one with the ending set up. It's a good film if you like your action, good on a story, decent film overall. enjoyed it. Then I actually watched one of my DVDs, which is I'm a bit of a hoarder. I had this unopened for like 2 years or something, and that is Snoopy and Charlie Brown, the Peanuts movie. I actually gave it a 3-star, so I really needed to pick this up. It seemed like the perfect time to watch, just felt like I was in the mood for it. Again, I've had this DVD since it came out, I think, so maybe more than 2 years, I don't know, 2015. Oh wow, bloody hell. So, you know, it was time to check it out. Just briefly, it says, dream big and laugh along with old Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Lucy, Linus and the rest of the beloved Peanuts gang, if you've never seen them before, in a brand new feature film from the imagination of Charles M. Schulz. Sorry, I just butchered that name. And the creators of Ice Age. Join everyone's favourite eternal optimist Charlie Brown as he embarks on a heroic quest with his beagle pal Snoopy takes to the skies to pursue his arch nemesis, the Red Baron. It's a hilarious and heartwarming adventure that proves every underdog has his day. So I didn't realise Snoopy was a beagle, for one. Does not look like a beagle to me, but I'm just going to throw that out there, walk away, leave it alone. It's been said. So I loved how the animation style still kept the essence of the original, like 2D flat drawing, if you know what I mean. Very simplistic in style, but it was brought in a nice rounded way. I don't know, I just like how they did that. Definitely a cute family fun film, lots of plots going on, fun and easy to follow. Did end up being something I had on more as like a background noise, background story though, as I potted around the house doing my bits and bobs, but still enjoyable nonetheless. After that I took it to Disney and I watched Twitches, gave it 4 stars. I adored this film when I was younger. I've been looking out for it for quite a few years because I was waiting every Halloween around that period for some of the, you know, the OG Disney live action films to come out. Seen Halloween Town a few times over that time, but I kept missing Twitches, and I don't know if they were just not showing it or if I just weren't looking on Disney at the right time. But this time I caught it, I recorded it, but I only decided to watch it in November. Blows my mind too, my friend, it blows my mind too. So I know it's about witches that are separated at birth, sent to Earth to protect them from the darkness. It's one of those films that just makes me happy. This is very much likely the thing that made me want to find a long lost twin and turn out to be witches back in the day when I was a kid. Yeah, so I loved Tia and Tamara in Sister Sisters, which was I think a Nickelodeon show back in the day. So I remember being like, it's them, when this film first came out, and I was like, oh, I recognise them. Anyway, so yeah, that was my little Jen flashback to when I first watched this. Back to the present. I loved the bickering of the Guardians in this film. I remember back in the day thinking they used to annoy me so much, but you know, they're still fun. And when the twins meet, oh my god, it's such a good reaction. I live for it. I could watch that film over and over and over again, I think, and I'd love it every time. Also I got super excited when Into the Rush by Ali and AJ came on. I forgot that song was in this, and it's so strange because around that time that I watched the film, I'd been listening to them like on and off again for I think a few months before that, and I forgot that this song was in, I think, this film and the Bratz game. Does anybody remember that Bratz game that it was on? Anyway, I digress. The double dip scene always made me chuckle when I was younger, still didn't fail to make me chuckle today. Anyway, that wasn't much of a review, I do apologise. It was more me just reminiscing on life and why I enjoyed this film. There's that. So in December I went to the cinema with Chloe, and my first film then was Bohemian Rhapsody, which I gave a 5 stars. I love that it shows us the scene from what you assume is the end at the start. I don't know, it just felt very full circle. I love when they have that little, I don't know, technicality to it that just makes you think, wow, I feel so closed. Just, I've got what I came, I don't know, I'm being such a weirdo. It just shows you about Freddie's life, his family, but honestly I didn't know too much about, and you know, experiences up until the Live Aid event, which was an interesting place to end. Honestly I was hoping to focus a little bit more on the other members of the band, but it did more than the documentary. I basically watched this documentary on Channel 5 a few years ago, and I feel like that was good, but it was very the acting and the dramatization was a little bit off. This one was far more better. Obviously it was a film, so it felt well produced. That they just didn't give me that little bit more about the other bands that I was hoping for, but it was still decent. The story gave me more meaning to some of the songs as well, which was just so amazing. Random, but the actor for Roger, Ben Howdee, is it? Yeah. I could have sworn he was in one of the Twilight films. He wasn't. I recognised him from EastEnders as Peter, but funnily enough, turns out Freddy's actor, Rami Malek, was in Twilight. So it's like I found out one character was in Twilight when I thought someone else was. And then I was having all these flashbacks like, wow, my youth is just flown past, man. Wow. Anyway, I do feel like the drug and alcohol abuse was more subtly interwoven into the story than it could have been, but perhaps they were trying to be sensitive, which is crazy when you're doing, you know, a Hollywood film about one of the most famous people on earth. Should have gone more into depth with that, I think, but it was still handled quite tastefully and tactfully. I loved the "We Will Rock You" scene. That was amazing. I just felt my cheeks tingling. I was like, ah, it's so good. What else? So it threw me back to when I believe I first heard the song, "We Will Rock You," obviously, and acknowledged it in my young life on an episode, I'm pretty sure, of The 10th Kingdom, which I need to rewatch because I keep meaning to buy the box set and then I just forget. But I think that's when I first heard it. Those were good times. When I started really paying attention to music a few years later, I was like, whoa, that's by Queen. I didn't know that. It was just such a pure moment. But yeah, I love that we had a little dedication at the end and some facts about Freddie Mercury's death and some, you know, real performances. I thought that was just really, really nice. It shows that they went to the effort to really try and do him justice. I thought it was really awesome, actually. I actually felt like I was there, especially when they were doing like performances and stuff. It felt like super immersive, like I was at a live concert. It was just awesome. Not sure if they merged real footage of actual concerts or not, but whatever they did, it felt like an epic performance. Couldn't help singing along and played the songs as soon as I got home. So definitely an all-inclusive performance film. Go see it. So then I was at my boyfriend's house, chilling, killing, pilling. It wasn't pilling, don't do drugs, kids. But we watched Pick a Destiny. 5 stars for me, my friends, my broskies. So Tenacious D obviously go on a quest for the Pick of Destiny while coming together as the ultimate band of 2. It's like their fantasy origin story, I swear, and it's one of the best things to ever exist. This is one of those films I hadn't seen in years, but it still rocked my socks off. I think when it first came out, I think in like 2016, wow, no, peg it back a bit, 2006, it did really poorly in the box office, but it is such a legendary film. I don't know how anybody could hate it. Maybe you haters, but other than you, no one, really. That was a really pointless statement. Loved it. Loved Tenacious D anyway, so maybe a little bit biased. And we also watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the newer one, the Tim Burton one with like Johnny Depp and everything. So I gave that a 4 stars. So yeah, this was Tim Burton's version that I had seen before, but I forgot how weird Johnny Depp was in this. He portrays Wonka in a really kind of creepily troubled way, if you can understand what I'm trying to explain. And I forgot how annoying those bratty kids were, but overall, film's enjoyable. It's funny, interesting, one that you can stick on and absent-mindedly watch, or have on like as background distraction or something. You still watch and enjoy, but it's one of those sort of films for me. We also, I think at a later date, watched Logan, which I hadn't seen before. I gave it 4.5 stars. Whoa, man. This was dark. Very, very dark. And I know it's kind of like seen as separate from the other X-Men Marvel stuff. It's like its own thing. And I think they went way into it, and they didn't have the restraints to hold them back, but it was dark and rich and very intense. I mean, I was expecting dark, but not as intense as we got. But I need to go back and watch it properly because I think I missed like the last half hour or so. But just whoa, the story was amazing, the action, everything was incredible, and now I remember why I was hesitant to watch it. Other than the fact that I just forgot and didn't get around to it. But I just don't want it to be the end of a saga, basically, and yeah, it just got me. We're nearly at the climax, guys. Don't know why I chose that word, but we're nearly there. So, Watership Down, 2018, 4 stars. So I was very confused because I thought it was a movie, and then I thought it was a mini-series, which ended up being a 2-parter shown on TV, but technically it was 4 episodes, but they just pushed 2 and 2 together. But it added to my inner turmoil because I forgot to record it, and then I had to watch it on the dreaded iPlayer. We all know about the iPlayer. It works fantastic on mobile devices, but on your TV, it's like, it's the bane of your existence, basically. But yeah, I don't remember much from the original, but I have been told I have seen it, so truth's out there. All I remember is that it's very sad, and with them looking this realistic, which actually wasn't that realistic as I thought when I then went to watch it, I just thought, oh dear, this is going to add to the trauma. But yeah, I was super happy to hear the voice of James McAvoy and Peter Capaldi. Great actors. It was an excellent cast overall as well, actually. I'm terrible with names, as you know, but I recognised their faces when I searched the names, because there were some voices that I was like, they sound familiar, and I looked up like the cast and I was like, oh, that's their voice, da 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 da. Anyway, Countryside was stunning. The design, the art, fantastic, superb. They had such an interesting dynamic within the rabbits like family, the police force. There was captains. It's pretty cool to see. It wasn't as humanised as Fantastic Mr. Fox. They were still like on their little all fours running around, but they had like this authoritative hierarchy to some extent. It was just very interesting, and I think that was done better than how Mr. Fox was done. Even though they're complete different films, complete different styles, understandable, but if I'm just comparing like that, I would say I prefer the way this was done. I felt so tense because all the time throughout the whole of this thing I was just waiting for something terrible to happen, and I feel like it wasn't as big a thing as I was anticipating, but I was shocked that the majority of like sorrow and pain were caused by other rabbits. I was expecting it to be more like inflicted from humanity, and actually to learn a little bit of a lesson from that, but no, it was mainly done by their peers, which was strange. It was really moving though, not as emotional as I was expecting. Probably that's why it doesn't get as high a 5-star. The ending did get me a little bit, and it got me good. But yeah, it was awesome. If you can find it on iPlayer, probably watch it on your computer or laptop or something, because it'll work better, I'm sure. Anyway, last 2 things are second to last now, is Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, 5 stars. So I'm going to sound super old now, but I love how trendy this film was. Like, it was hilarious. So I remember enjoying the first film, but I think that I have to say that this one was much better in my experience. Like, I really did enjoy the first one, but this one just topped it. I still don't know why they didn't call it Ralph Wrecks the Internet, because you know, they missed out a trick there. Don't know if there's actual like a deep reason for why they didn't call it that, but I don't know. All the memes and everything was just so relatable for such a wide range of audience, I feel, and enjoyable for the whole family, as there were some jokes aimed at adults specifically, but you know, the overall tone was for children. I just thought it was great. It was hilarious. Really enjoyed it. So glad I went to see it. It is that case where it was like the last option. So basically me and my fella, sounds so weird, went to see Spider-Verse, right? Enter the Spider-Verse, whatever it's called, Into the Spider-Verse. But there were only the front seats, and we thought, okay, never mind. I don't want to sit there because it makes me feel sick, yeah? Looking up at the screen like that. Then there was Mary Poppins, and I was looking at the wrong information, and the one that we would have intended to go to, which was completely the wrong, like I was looking at like the 3D one or something, I don't know, I didn't want the 3D one. They were all booked, the regular viewing, 2D viewing. Someone was like, oh, what else then? Wreck-It Ralph never let anyone down, did he? Anyway, lastly, this is just a random mention, but I watched The Greatest Showman again. This is 5 stars. I reviewed this like last year. You all know it's my fave, or one of my faves, but after buying a DVD player, because my other one stopped working, I got Mum to watch it for the first time, and she really enjoyed it. I just can't help noticing something really random. The silences and like background noise, particularly when they're singing a song or like after a musical moment. It really adds something to it. It's just like the pauses in music, the pauses in sound. It just builds up the atmosphere, and I don't know, I just wanted to mention that. I can't remember if I said it before. But yeah, this film just makes me want to dance, and I feel so joyful. Can't believe I've only seen it twice though. This was literally the second time I've seen it. But it's impactful enough that it's made it into my favourites. How strange. Anyway, that wraps up this film wrap up. Let me know what you've been watching over the past couple of months. Did you watch any more like festive stuff? I was gonna watch some festive stuff. I watched maybe one. I talked about it on Twitter, but it wasn't enough to write a full-fledged review, if that's what you want to call these comments. But yeah, I hope you've had like an awesome November, December, and now January. I hope you're enjoying the new year and such. Peace out. Speak to you later. Bye.